Alright, welcome back everyone. In the next few videos, we're going to talk about deploying our Express applications. Basically, how do we get these apps that are currently running, and they're working fine, they're technically deployed using Cloud9. We have a URL, when my Yelp Camp server is running, I have a URL that I can send to my mom, I can send it to my friends, I can post it on Facebook, and people can visit that application. But of course, it's not really the same thing as having my app served somewhere running 24/7 on an Amazon server or on a Heroku server or on my own server. Basically anything other than Cloud9 servers. Not that there's anything wrong with Cloud9, it's just that it's not designed for actually deploying applications. Those deployments that we've been doing when we start our server, when we run node app.js, that starts up a server on Cloud9 and it works fine. But as soon as Cloud9 has any issues, as soon as I stop that server, I hit Control-C, or my workspace restarts, then we run into problems. That application is no longer running. The other problem is that it's generally not a good idea to have one copy of your application that you're working on that is the same copy of the application that is being deployed or that's being served. So let's say that I wanted to add in a new feature. I wanted to add in, Google Maps, or I want to add in something involving sending a text message. Whatever feature it is, I would need to stop the server to actually do that. So I'd have to stop my Yelp Camp app, try things out, because remember, we have to restart the server for a lot of these changes to take effect. So then we have gaps in our service where if I want to try something out, I want to debug something, I'm actually debugging it on the same copy of the code that everyone else sees, whoever is using the application. So obviously that's a big issue as well. So what we're going to do is use a tool called Heroku. And Heroku is basically just servers that you're renting out. It's a company, Salesforce owns them actually. There's a bunch of options, similar companies like DigitalOcean. There's one called NodeJitsu. There's Modulus or Modulo. There's hundreds of these companies out there. Heroku is probably the most well-known though. And the main reason we're using it is that it has a nice free plan, but it's also really, really robust and powerful. Big companies use Heroku all the time as well, so it's not just a amateur solution or something. So let's talk about what Heroku is, what they do, what deploying is. When you deploy an application, all that you're doing is running it on someone else's server, or it can be your own server as well, but just a server, that's it. It's just running on a server somewhere, and it's just going 24/7. What we could do is just get our own server, go out, build a computer, connect it to the internet, and just have that sitting in the corner running 24/7. Of course, that doesn't really make sense for this course, and it actually doesn't make sense for a lot of companies. That used to be kind of the only way of serving an application, of deploying something. And then there came this huge surge, or this tidal wave of companies that provide, deployment and cloud services as a service. Things like Amazon, AWS, Heroku, all the other companies that I mentioned earlier. They're businesses that solely exist basically to rent you computer power, to rent you server space. So that's what we're doing here when we're going to deploy to Heroku. All that we have to do is get our application, whatever that application is, Yelp Camp or our blog app. We're just trying to get it onto Heroku servers and then just start it there, and that's it. Heroku will give us a URL. We can customize that. We can set it to reroute to our own custom domain. We can do whatever we want. But the goal is just to have our application that works on this computer or on this workspace in Cloud9 and do exactly what we did here, except on another computer, another server. So we're going to do that in the next few videos. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to deploy a really simple application, 2 routes, an Express app, EJS, no database, no Mongo, no authentication, none of that. And then I'll show you how to deploy Yelp Camp. It is a little bit more complicated when you have to consider databases and security issues. So again, we're going to start nice and simple. So in the next video, we'll actually go about this process, transferring code from this computer or this machine, Cloud9, to Heroku's and making sure that it runs well on Heroku. And by the end of the next video, you'll have a link that is actually deployed that you can share and that you don't have to worry about it going down.